Very good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the basics of electric. If you see electrical, there are three things are very important. One is resistor, inductor, another one is capacitor. We will discuss one by one. What is the resistor will do, what the inductor will do, what the capacitor will do, how it will react when it is connected to the circuit. Right? Yes. First we will discuss about a resistor. This is a resistor symbol. The nature of resistor means it opposes the flow of electrons. It opposes the flow of electrons. If you see what is the relationship between current and voltage for the resistor, you say this is a phasor diagram. Here is the current and voltage in phase. That means that the power factor is 0. Cos phi is nothing but power factor. What is meant by power factor? It is the cosine of angle between voltage and current. If you see a resistor load, it is going to only dissipate in the form of heat. It does not have any storage property. It is only going to dissipate only. Right? So, it is the power factor is unity power factor. Because the cos phi is 0. Cos phi is 0, it is having unity power factor. It is called as unity power factor load. All the resistor load are called as unity power factor load. Then, if you see a waveform structure, this is a sinusoidal wave, so this is called as voltage. Here this is called as current. You see that it starts from 0 degree and it is coming at 180 degree and it is coming at 360 degree. It starts from there and ends from there, both the current and voltage. That means it should be in phase. That is called as resistor. This is called as resistor. Then you see about an inductor. It is a symbol of inductor. It is called as L. Its unit is Henry. Henry is called as millihenry. So inductor. What is the nature of inductor means? It opposes the flow of electrons, but it is closed down the current. It is like a water tube structure. If you are flowing a huge water, but it is going to the rolling structure, the water is constant output we are getting. That is a constant current. So it is actually energy storage property will be there. So here the energy is stored. Unlike a resistor, it does not have energy storage property. But if you see an inductor, it is having an energy storage property. If you see an inductor, the energy is stored in the form of current. So L is the inductor, the capacity, and I is the current going through that. So energy stored in the inductor is nothing but of Li square. So it is an energy storage device. The inductor is nothing but an energy storage device. Right? So next we will go to the phasor diagram. If you see an inductor phasor diagram, here it is a unity power factor. The current and voltage are in phase with the resistor load. Here the current is lagging. For a pure inductor, the current lags by 90 degrees. So what is the advantage, what is the disadvantage of the inductor? When it is absorbed, it is absorption some power. Because of the inductance is having some absorbing capacity, some energy is stored, we are not getting it creates a lagging power factor. It creates a lagging power factor when the power absorption will be there. We need to pay penalty to the electricity board every time. Because most of the types of loads are inductive type of load, the induction motors, everything we used in industries. So what happens means, because of that the energy is absorbed, so the power factor is going less than unity power factor, so we need to pay penalty. Here the current and voltage in waveform It is 90 degree. You see that the phase difference between a current and voltage is 90 degree. So it is having a lagging power factor. For example, if you say that power is equal to VA cos phi, it is a single phase power. Its power factor, the cos phi, this is the phase angle is 90 degree. So it is cos 90. Cos 90 is nothing but 0. So the entire power is 0 if you use an inductive load. It is a pure inductive load. That means all the energy is absorbed by the inductor. Next we will see about a capacitor. This is a symbol of capacitor. This is a symbol of capacitor. If you draw like this, is a symbol of battery. So you need to have that. So this is a capacitor. So capacitor is also an energy storage property, but it stores the energy in the form of voltage. If you see an inductor, the energy is stored in the form of current. Here, if you see a capacitor of CV square. If you see in inductor, it is of Li square. So there, both the inductor and capacitor are energy storage elements. So if it is resistor, it is having only dissipation property. It is produced only in the form of heat. Actually. So if you see the phasor diagram of a capacitor, here it is exactly opposite to the inductor. Here the current leads the voltage. Current leads the voltage by 90. Here the current leads the voltage by 90. So here the phasor diagram is voltage. So it's actually the negative part. Here, the power factor cos phi is 90 degree, but it is in the opposite direction to that of inductor. So this is all about a resistor, capacitor, and inductor. Now we are going to see how it is seen in the power system, how it is creating some problems and all. So we see first here real power, reactive power, apparent, or you can say that real power means nothing but true power, is nothing but what we are getting in the homes and all. Everything we are discussing here is single phase, so I say that VA cos phi, here it is VA sin phi, and this one is VI. So the symbol of real power we can denote as P, reactive power is Q, and apparent power is S. Right? So we can draw a power triangle by using these three: real power, reactive power, and apparent power. So it is called as real power, and it is quadrature to that real power is nothing but reactive power. If you add these two, is nothing but apparent PQS. Right? So we say that P is equal to VA cos phi, Q is equal to VA sin phi, then S is equal to. So we can derive from here S is equal to P plus JQ. Or you can say that by Pythagoras theorem, this is hypotenuse, h square is equal to a square plus b square. So we can say that s square is equal to b square plus q square. If you implement this, you will get the VA, because cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1. So the apparent power is nothing but S is equal to VA. This apparent power is nothing but what we are getting from the battery. That is, there is no power angle and all. It is a cos phi or sin phi. Right? So this is a real power, reactive power, and apparent power. So what is real power, what is reactive power, and what is apparent power? We are going to see that. Real power means the utilization, what you are utilizing actually in homes and all, the actually utilized, that power is nothing but real power. We can say one example, we can say that P, I already told that P plus Q is equal to S. S is nothing but a sun, P is nothing but a prince, Q is nothing but a queen. That the prince earns money, the queen spends money. Based upon the economy, only the sun is growing. Right? So, like that, the prince is this real power is actually what we are transmitting. The reactive power is what is observed and what it is delivered actually to the load is nothing but an apparent power. Right? So this is the S is nothing but VI. So real power is nothing but useful power delivered to the load. Then next we will go for a reactive. This is quite difficult to understand, but let's try. Reactive. Reactive means we are creating something opposite. It is actually, if you take an India, that is every system is grid connected. When you say that on grid, there are solar power plant, thermal power plant, there are so many power plants are there, all are grid connected. So we are grid connected, we are sending some voltage from particular area to some other particular area to the transmission lines. Actually, what is happening in the transmission line means, if you see our transmission line, you see outside, there are two transmission lines are there. There is a gap between these two. It is nothing but a air gap. So it is nothing. This is one conductor. So this is a return path. So this is plus and this is minus. So the air gap, it is acts as a capacitor. So every transmission line, the parallel line, is having a capacitor actually present. So if you see take a series, it is having every conductor, whether it is the aluminum or copper or some other thing, it is having the resistive property and inductive property. As I already discussed, what is the nature of resistor, what is the nature of inductor, and what is the nature of capacitor. We know that resistor is creating only heat dissipation. That means if the current is flowing through that one, what is happening means it is based upon the resistance, it creates IR drop. If you come to the inductor, what happens? It is storing some energy, it is creating only heat, but it is storing some energy that is of Li square. Some energy is absorbed because of the inductor. Here the capacitor is also some energy is absorbed. So this thing, two things. This is called reactive power absorption. This is called reactive power generation. So inductor, wherever the inductor is there, it absorbs the reactive power. Wherever the capacitor is there, it is opposite in nature. It generates the reactive power. So, what is the need of reactive power? Then the need of reactive. If I want to say, one is a generator station, this is a load, what we are, our homes or industries or all, this is a characteristic is a transmission line. So this is the sending end, we can say this is the receiving end. Right? So if I want to send some power from one place to another place, I need the help of some force requirement will be there. Right? That is high voltage we are transmitting. We are transmitting everything at a very high voltage, that is 110 kV or 220 kV and all. So the high voltage, we are getting high voltage. I already told that in transmission line we are having an inductor and capacitor. So inductor is absorbing some power. So suppose I am sending some 200 volt from here. I am not getting 200 volt here. I am getting 160 volt here. The 40 volt gets dropped because of the reactive power absorption in the inductor. So what we need to do means we need to connect a capacitor. Sometimes the capacitor effect, already there is a capacitor effect will be there, but it is not really sufficient. We need to connect some capacitor bands to improve the reactive power. So if you eliminate this reactive power injection, is to eliminate the reactive power absorption. It is like a compensation. If you compensate that, you will get 200 volt here. Right? That thing only we are doing a reactive power generation. So what? The reactive power can be sent only up to 1 circuit kilometer in power system. Because if suppose it is sending in, I need to connect one capacitor here. Then only the reactive power will be more. I need to connect one reactive power at the receiving end. Then only here also the voltage will be proper. So this is the sending end compensation, or can say this is the receiving end compensation. This is called as midline compensation. So if you connect some capacitor bands either at the sending end or receiving end or in the middle of the transmission line, we can increase the reactive power. By increasing the reactive power, we can be able to attain the proper voltage in the receiving end. That effect, there are two cases will be there. One is called as low voltage in the receiving end. Another one is high voltage at the receiving end. So we need to know what is the reason of low voltage and high voltage. We are generating a 200 volt, right? The water loads are connected. The loads are connected or more. Let us say the load connected is more is like we are having some 300 volt requirement will be there. So it is actually we are the power. You can say it is the power also. Square power is the inverter. 50 watts is requirement. Here requirement is 100 watts. So automatically we are not satisfying the load. We are not satisfying the load. So we are not satisfying the load means what happens means there is a low voltage. There are more loads are there. More loads. Every equipment is designed in India to maintain a constant voltage. If you take a fan, fluorescent lamp, everything is operating at a 220 volt, but the current rating is different. Everything is a current rating is different. So voltage increases, the current is automatically goes low. So whenever there is an increase in the load, so what happens means the current increase in the load. I am saying that increase in the load increases means the current increases, the voltage decreases. So we say in this case 100 watt, but we are having 50 watts. So what happens means the load increases, the current increases, the voltage is going down. It is called as low voltage. Because I am not able to distribute commonly to all the equipment, so I need some capacitor banks to do that. That is one case. Another case is high voltage. The receiving end we are getting a high voltage. I am sending only 50 watts. But what the power I am getting, that is 50 watts, let's say, we are using only 25 watts. The load is minimum. So what happens means, the load what we are using is very minimum. So the capacitor effect will be there. I already told that there is a capacitor effect. The capacitor effects, what happens means, it creates boost up the voltage. That means the capacitor is absorbing some energy, it is giving some generating some energy. So what is happening means, so the receiving end voltage is greater. The receiving end voltage is very much greater. That means the current is reduced. Current is reduced means the load is very minimum. So this effect, the receiving end voltage is greater than sending end voltage. This effect is called as Faraday effect. You can see one example. What the ultimate aim of electricity means, we need to cook properly. If you say in home, there are 5 members are there, we need to cook only for 5 members. If you cook for 10 members, the food is get wasted. Right? If you cook for one person, there are 5 members also, there is a shortage of food. That is called as low voltage, that is called as high voltage in this phenomenon. So, this is the need of reactive power. We discussed about inductor, capacitor and resistor. Then we discussed about real power, reactive power and apparent power. Then some basics about we see some electrical machines here. If you go for an electrical machines, we are having AC and DC machines. AC machine and one is DC machine. And some are called as special machines. It is working under both AC and DC. Right? Let's say if you go for an electrical machine, there are principles are there. The principles are very important for basic electrical concepts. Whether it is a AC machine or a DC machine. The machine I am indicating it is combined of motor and generator. Right. So AC machines and DC machines. First we will speak about an motor. So the DC motor is a direct current motor. Whenever the principle is given by Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Whenever a conductor cuts magnetic field, whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force. You see that whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force. This is the north pole and south pole, this is a permanent magnet. Here, this is a conductor. So a conductor is a copper, we are passing a current in the conductor, so it creates some electric field actually. So here already there is a permanent magnet, so the fields are traveling from north pole to south pole, that is magnetic lines of force. When a current carrying conductor, this is a current carrying conductor, is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force. So there are two fluxes will be there. One is a permanent magnet flux, another one is electrical flux. These two fluxes will interact with each other, who is the best. So because of that, the torque is creating. So what happens when it starts rotating? So what happens when the conductor will start rotating, the rotor will start rotating. The north pole and south pole is fixed at the stator terminal. So this is the principle of DC motor. If you want to find out the direction of the current, we can go for Fleming's left hand rule. For motor, we can go for Fleming's left hand. What is Fleming's left hand? If you say that the three fingers are kept perpendicular to one another. One is the middle finger, one is the forefinger, another is the thumb. All are kept at 90 degrees to one another. Right? So you see that all are kept at 90 degrees. Because if it is why I am placing it 90 degrees, then only the cutting of fluxes is possible. Whenever the cutting of fluxes, only there is a rotation will be there. You see that whenever a current carrying conductor, if suppose it is a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, both are perpendicular to one another. That is a middle finger and forefinger. So what happens when it experiences a mechanical force? The thumb represents the mechanical force. The conductor, that the middle finger represents the conductor, and this forefinger represents the magnetic field. So this is nothing but Fleming's left hand rule. We are using it for motor. For generator, we are using Fleming's right hand rule. This is about a DC motor. Then we'll see about what is DC circuit. Right? So DC motor. Actually, we are having an AC motor also. Right? We are discussing here. Only the one difference means there is having a commutator. The commutator is used to convert AC into DC. Here, the AC motor, there is no commutator, so we are getting only AC. It is running in the AC. So we come to the generator also. The generator also, it is what's the principle Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Here, what is the principle means? Whenever a conductor cuts magnetic flux, there is an EMF induced in it. Whenever a conductor cuts magnetic flux, there is an EMF induced. Previously, you see in a motor, it is current carrying conductor. But if you see in this case, it is not a current carrying conductor. There is no current is flowing in the conductor. Only a conductor will be there. Let's see this case how it is operating. It is also some permanent magnet will be there, north pole and south pole. It is the conductor 1 and the conductor 2 and conductor 3 and conductor 4. There is a single 1, 2, 3, 4. These are called as conductors. We know that the magnetic lines of force is traveling from north pole to south pole. And take this direction, the direction of conductor. This is the conductor direction. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So you see that the magnetic lines of force and the conductor moving direction both are in parallel to one another. Both are, that is the conductor is going this way. This is also parallel to one another. So you see that how the voltage is creating. This is let us take there is a position 1. In position 1, it is not cutting 90 degree. It is because the magnetic lines of force and the conductor direction are parallel to one another. It is not, if it is cutting only, you see that whenever a conductor cuts, whenever a conductor is a conductor, it cut 90 degree, then only there is an EMF will be there, then only the you able to generate some power, generate some voltage. So we see that how it is going to operate. If you take the first conductor, both are parallel to one another. Both are parallel to one another. So actually it is not cutting, so there is no EMF is produced, so it is 0. Right? Next come to the position 1. This is position 1 and this is position 2. Position 2. The conductor is moving upward direction. The magnetic lines of force is traveling this direction. So the conductor is like that. So what happens when the flux is cutting like that? So the flux is maximum. The flux is maximum, so it is coming. Then the conductor position 3. Position 3, it is exactly opposite to that one. Both are parallel. Again, what happens if there is no flux? Then when it comes to position 4, it is again cutting it is in the opposite direction. So opposite direction it is maximum. Like that, the sinusoid, then vice versa, it is going again to 2 position and 3 position like that. So that is sinusoidal wave. That is the EMF is produced here. EMF is produced like that. So it is called as actually an AC generator. If you use a commutator there, it will be changed to DC motor. So this is nothing but a motor and generator. Now, so the commutator is device. Remember, commutator is used to convert AC voltage to AC. When come to the AC machines, one is AC motor, other one is AC generator. You say AC motor, there are so many types of AC motor is there. One is induction motor, another one is a synchronous motor. This is called as special machines, special motors. Right. In induction motor, again we are going from classification. It is a single phase induction motor, and another one is going for 3 phase induction motor. There is synchronous. We are adding here single phase synchronous machine and 3 phase synchronous machine. In special machines, we are adding a switched reluctance motor. Switched reluctance is coming at again it is having a single phase and 3 phase. In single phase it is having that watch we are using. Some version like that. Three phase we are having electrons motor. First we will see that one, induction one, in single phase induction. Yeah, it is not self-starting. A single phase induction motor is not self-starting. It is types there is a split phase, capacitor start, capacitor and induction motor. So one of the example for a single phase induction motor is this fan. So it is not self-starting. Why it is not self-starting means we know that single phase, which is carrying positive off cycle and negative off cycle. If you give a single phase to any device, what happens means if you have the positive pulse, it is trying to rotate in the clockwise direction, and the negative pulse, it is trying to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. Clockwise direction, it is anti-clockwise direction. So what happens means you will try to move in the rightward direction and if you try to move in the leftward direction, it will not complete rotation takes place because of single phase. So what is happening is it only creates pulsating torque. So the single phase induction motor is not self-starting. So what we are using means we are using a capacitor. The capacitor is connected in parallel, so that is creating a phase shift. That means you can say that two phase. One phase we are creating by means of capacitor by using a 90-degree phase shift. Now that is single phase is developed to a two phase by connecting a capacitor. So what is happening because of the two phase means we see that once it comes here, it goes to zero. Again, it goes to the negative direction. That's why it is trying to rotate in the clockwise direction and it is opposing in the anti-clockwise direction. But if you created a two phase by means of capacitor connected, capacitor star induction motor, or you can see capacitor star and run induction motor, we'll see that one. So what happens means it goes there. When it comes to this position, it's again because of the capacitor, it starts here. Right? So again it is coming down. What happens by this time? It reaches the synchronous. That means you can say that it reaches the normal speed, 80% of the speed of the induction motor. So when it reaches 80% of the induction motor, we no need of capacitor help. So what happens? It starts rotating. Right? So if we remove the capacitor, that means remove this phase also, what happens means it will try to rotate only in the clockwise direction. You can see some problems in your home. Sometimes the fan is not rotating. You just pull the fan and it starts working. That is a capacitor problem because the capacitor is not injecting any torque. So every device you need to have some starting torque. That is a starting torque problem. The starting torque is given by means of capacitor. So some cases we need to run it for a very high. So in that cases we need to, that is some motors is doing some heavy loads and all. So when you connect it to the load, what happens when the speed of the motor is going lower? So what happens is we need to connect some capacitor start and capacitor run. That means during the running condition also the capacitor is connected to carry that load. That is a single phase induction motor. Now, three phase induction motor. It is also having a stator. It is having a rotor. This is stator and this one is called rotor. The rotor is nothing but rotating device, the stator is. So we are giving a three phase supply R by B to the stator. What is happening? The stator is nothing but a conductor. If you are passing some current, what happens? It creates static magnetic field. Stator magnetic field it creates. You can say it is a stator IS. Right? If the rotor, we are having two types of induction motor. One is screw gauge induction motor, another one is slip ring induction motor. Slip ring screw gauge induction motor with the rotor is short circuited, that is closed position. If you take a slip ring induction motor, the rotor is not short circuited, we can add some external resistance. By means of that, we can make the rotor. So the slip ring induction motor is used for high starting torque, but the screw gauge induction motor is kind of a constant torque. So I am explaining here the screw gauge induction motor. So the rotor is short circuited. What happened means the flux is linking with this is also a group of conductors. It is linking with the conductors. The conductor is short circuited. What happens means here also when current starts flowing, it creates rotor flux. These two flux, stator flux and rotor flux, will interact with each other. The relative speed between the stator magnetic field and rotor magnetic field, what happens is it creates a torque. So because of the torque, what happens is it starts rotating. Unlike a single phase induction motor, it is not self-starting now, it is self-starting. Because it is having three-phase supply. Because it is having a three-phase supply, so it is having self-starting. You know that three-phase means it is having a continuous phases. So there is no lag in flux. So what happens is it will be a continuous flow. So what happens is it is having a self-starting. So this three-phase induction motor is self-starting. Tomorrow we will see the next classes. Thank you.